And we're live. So, hi everyone. My name, as always, is Cheyenne Severin, and today I'm here with
Joe Loonam.
Joe Loonam. And this month, with March, we're gonna be back, which I'm happy about, and we're gonna be focusing on our parent members this month, which is a big deal and a part of our organization that I want to be represented a little more. Especially with the change in coordinators, that's going to be Abby and John Boxman from now on. So bigger part of our organization. And Joe, we have Black Balloon Day coming up. We're going to be partnering with the Black Poster Project. It's a big deal. I don't know. Have you ever been to a Black Balloon Day event before, or?
I have. In fact, I just got back from one in my hometown of New Milford at 11 o'clock this morning. That's been going on for, I guess, 4 or 5 years now. I was at Black Balloon Day at Bergen Newbridge last year. I would highly encourage anybody, to go out and check it out. It's an incredible display. There's a full Black Poster Project that Dee runs, in conjunction, Dee from the Black Poster Project in conjunction with Nancy and Bergen Newbridge and Alumni in Recovery. It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think they're up to, oh my God, over 600 posters now. Which is astonishing. Oh my God, it's Sunday already. That's insane. Sorry, I didn't realize. I thought it was like Friday in my head. But yeah, it's a really big deal. Just for anyone who isn't aware, what exactly is Black Balloon Day? Just like as a day, like how would you put that into words?
So Black Balloon Day is officially March 6th. It's being observed by Bergen Newbridge on the 5th this year, on Tuesday. Black Balloon Day was started in remembrance of a young man named Greg Tremblay, who died in 2015 of an overdose. And it was started by the Tremblay family to try to raise awareness to the growing opioid epidemic and overdose.
I actually didn't know that. So you have a son, and he unfortunately passed away from an overdose. Is that right?
Correct. In 2017, my son AJ, October 26, 2017, he was found having overdosed and passed away.
So, as a parent who has experienced the pain of a loved one having a fatal overdose, why do you think this event or this day is important? Why do you think it's important that we as a society recognize days like this?
That's a great question, Cheyenne. So I think, first of all, bringing awareness to anything, helps. And, whether it's, diabetes research or cancer, AIDS, whatever. The more people that are aware of it, the more people that can help to lessen its impact or to find a cure, in certain instances. But I think the answer to your question is just really the need for support among people. It's how many good friends do I have that when I lost my son, said to me, like, I can't even imagine. And they were right. The people that can imagine are the people that have gone through what I've gone through. My family's gone through, but it's getting to the point where everybody's life, I think, has been touched by somebody who's overdosed, whether it's, a mother, a son, a sibling, best friend. We're at the point now in 2024 where there's not too many people that don't know somebody that has lost their life to an overdose.
Yeah. Um, it's hard. I haven't lost a child myself, but I did lose my father figure. And he lived with us and everything, my Uncle Peter. And so I, don't understand in the same way, but I understand, what it can feel like to lose a loved one. So also from my perspective, it's important to recognize, like, and take the time to see the individuals who have been impacted and who have lost their lives due to a substance use disorder, and see that, like, these people are not just numbers. They're actual human beings with families that love them enough to submit, something in their memory. And so that's why I really appreciate what the Black Poster Project does, and why I think it's important that they are having an event for Black Balloon Day, even if it is, the day before. So I don't know. That's just something that I wanted to add to what you had said.
Yeah, just to kind of jump into what you were saying, Nancy LeBeau, for those who don't know her, who's the founder of Alumni in Recovery, she taught me something. She was speaking one time, and, she said that, this is the one disease, or outcome of a disease, an overdose that's completely preventable. And it's like when I first heard her, and I've heard her say that several times now, but when she first said that, that really struck me, right? Because, cancer, I guess you can, try to live a healthy lifestyle, cars, you can hope to, drive safe, right? But some of those things are just, not preventable, right? Not overdosing is completely preventable, right? And the way that it becomes preventable is obviously, not doing it, not using drugs like, fentanyl, even marijuana. I was at an event this morning, as I mentioned, and the speaker was talking about how his son's drug of choice was synthetic marijuana. And he didn't overdose from synthetic marijuana, but he ended up committing suicide because of it. Mm-hmm. So, that's not any different than somebody, snorting heroin or shooting up or whatever. It's the same thing. From my viewpoint, at least. And there's certainly a lot of, mental health undertones that go with addiction. It's some people are predisposed genetically, and some people become addicted over time. In my son's case, my father was a heroin addict, and I talk to my kids about that. And as much as you can try to talk to them about that, and you can explain to them that, hey, you may have a predisposed genetic condition. This might, impact you in a different way than it might, somebody else trying something for the first time. Then there's people who get hooked on pills after an orthopedic surgery. It really, this opioid epidemic, this overdose problem really impacts everybody, every family. Nobody's immune to it. It doesn't discriminate by race, by sex, by age, none of it. And so that's why I think that what they do with the Black Poster Project and Black Balloon Day, raising awareness, putting black balloons on, your front porch, and somebody asking you why you did that. Right. And being able to explain. That's what it's all about. It's about raising awareness.
I know you just talked about it a little bit, but what role do you think raising awareness has in preventing more, deaths and substance use disorders from developing in the first place?
Another great question. You're on your game today. I was speaking to parents a couple of weeks ago, and in at Demorest High School and at Old Japan High School. And, one of the things that I say to the parents is, speaking to your kids, it's drugs. It's not don't ask, don't tell. In fact, anything that's uncomfortable to speak to your children about probably means you really need to, no matter what that is, right? And some of the things, you like, here, I'm going to give you a little prop here that I have. One of the things that I speak about, if you can see this well, I'm going to zoom in on it, is, there we go. This is a penny, and you see a little white dot on this penny. What I've done is taken white out, and I've colored in Abraham Lincoln's beard. And when I'm speaking to kids in schools or to parents, when I show them this penny, and I explain to them that that's the amount of fentanyl that it takes to kill you, people are just astounded by that, because we hear fentanyl, we're familiar with heroin, we're familiar with cocaine, we've seen the movies, people snorting lines, nobody realizes just how little fentanyl it takes to end your life, and it's not that most people are out, going to, seek fentanyl. It's mixed into like everything now. It's like 95 or 96% of everything tested by the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, that's suspected to be drugs contains fentanyl now. It's crazy. And parents need to know that. Kids need to know that.
Yeah, I'm someone that, obviously works in like the substance misuse like field, just in a different way than most people, but still. So I hear about fentanyl a lot. And I hear about how little, it takes to kill you, unfortunately. And so, hearing about it is one thing, but even seeing a visual like that and really like having it in your face is like, wow. Like I've heard the penny thing before, like I have like a lot. Not to say that it isn't useful information to hear, but it's just actually seeing that and having you present that. It's still, to me, even as someone who's more experienced, it's like, wow, like that's terrible.
Yeah, and to be frank, I started doing that after last year's Black Balloon Day when I saw the display, of all the posters. There was a big poster, showing a picture of a penny. I mean, I didn't come up with that. I found it. I stole it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah.
share it. Because like to me, that was like so impactful seeing that visual, So when I present, I do a slideshow, and one of the slides I have is, the slide that they have, with Black Poster Project, as well as a picture of that penny that I just showed you. And I give out the pennies, to people to, make it a conversation starter. Go home and show your kids this, ask them if they understand or know like how much fentanyl can kill them, But yeah, visuals I think are really important. And I think that kind of ties us back to awareness, right? If you have a visual like that penny, or you have, the shirt that I'm wearing, I walked around, this is a Black Balloon shirt. My wife makes shirts and she made this. This is my son. And I wear this. I wear Cookie Monster pajamas when I speak, and people ask, why are you wearing Cookie Monster pajamas? Because my son used to walk around town with Cookie Monster pajamas on. So like, a black balloon on your front porch, any of this stuff that raises conversations and awareness and starts conversation, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel being a parent member, Joe? Just, I know it's a very general question, but just like what is that experience like for you?
One of the things when I speak as a parent member for Alumni in Recovery, one of the first things that I say, either to students or parents is like, anybody here not want to be here today? Me neither. I'd rather be doing a lot of things. I'd rather be talking to my son about his upcoming wedding or, his newborn. But I'm here talking to you today because I can't talk to my son.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, that's how I feel about being a parent member. I feel that it's an avenue for me to potentially spread awareness. It's an opportunity to get to talk about my son and all of, he was a great kid. He really was. And I don't say that because he was my kid. He was a normal, average, middle-class kid in suburbia. That's no different than your next door neighbor, And that's what I think is important. Yeah, there's a lot of cases where kids struggle early on, or, even older people. And for years and years and years, they battle addiction. And that's really sad. And that's awful. But it also can be the kid next door that goes to a party and tries something for the first time. It can also be a kid that, meets a new friend and he gets him to start taking pills, or not gets him to, but introduces him to, Xanax or Percocets or whatever. And then, the life spirals, so it gives me an outlet certainly to speak about my son, to explain that, he was a good kid, and, your kids are good kids, and, your brother's a good kid. Most people are good by nature, right? It can happen to anyone. So as a parent, the thing that I want to do most is potentially prevent one other parent from having to deal with the phone call that I got on October 26, 2017.
Yeah. So thank you. I think, yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. So I think, something that also helps with that is, obviously, like we were just talking about, events like Black Balloon Day. Are you going to be going to the Bergen Newbridge event this year, or?
So put me on the spot. I'm really, really trying to. I have a work conflict right now. So I'm going to try to. Last year I was there the entire day. I'm trying to either my day off, or to get there for a couple of hours at least. I'd really like to.
Hmm. Yeah, no, no worries. I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm in Brick, so I'm more like Central Jersey, and everybody's like super up north. So I'm like, but I'm just wondering because I'm gonna ask everybody that, like, are you heading up there? But it's just I don't know. I talked about it before, but it's such like a sombering kind of thing, like that really individualizes the people that we've lost. So I don't know, Joe. It's a lot. Days like this are a lot, but they're important. And raising awareness is, it's a phrase that you hear also a lot, but it's one that never really loses its meaning for me because there are so many different ways to do it. And obviously I want to be like, go to Black Balloon Day, and I attached the flyer in the Facebook post for this Sunday Speaks if anyone wants the details. It's a completely free event, they want to go, but it's also in everyday things. Like we have events like Overdose Awareness Day in August, and that's very important, and we should have it. But I just wish there was more talk about it on the daily as well. And I think these events and days are really good because they inspire more of that everyday conversation. I don't know if you would agree with that, but
I would. I will tell you that I think going to Black Balloon Day last year at Bergen Newbridge was probably the most powerful thing I've ever experienced in my life. So I think that it gives, as I mentioned earlier, it gives people like myself seeing, I don't know if they're up to 800, they may be up to 800 posters now. Seeing all of these people, it does make you, as somebody who's bereaved, it makes you realize that A, you're not alone, right? And B, if you're somebody who's been fortunate enough to not have to ever deal with that in your life, tragically losing somebody that was, seemingly perfectly healthy the day before, walking into that environment and seeing that, it's equally as impactful, I think. And it makes you realize like how fortunate you are, and that, hey, it may not have happened to me, but I've seen the effects that it's had on others. And I think that can also start conversations. And the last thing I would say is, listen, we're all dealing with something, right? We can all be bereaved and it not have to do with drugs. And the people that are there, the people that are in recovery, that are there, that have, gotten clean, and that are speaking and that tell their story, and everybody can relate to this event one way or the other, regardless of what it is that you're going through, whether it's a relationship problem, whether you have an aging parent, whatever it is that can be affecting you. It's just an environment where you realize you're not alone. There's people all around you that need people as well. It's kind of like the biggest group therapy session you'll ever find, with some really, really amazing people and some really people who just motivate you. And I would highly suggest and recommend to anybody who's watching this, hearing this, if you can in any way, shape, or form get to Black Balloon Day on Tuesday, it's worth your time. There's no question about it.
thank you, Joe. Thank you for talking to me today, and just talking to me. I always appreciate the time. Do you have any last comments, questions, concerns before we end off today?
No, I don't. I really don't. I thank you for taking the time to speak with me today and giving me the opportunity to come on Sunday Speaks. As always, you do a great job, and I'm looking forward to hearing, other parents such as myself in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Joe. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye bye.